All right, it's 9 o'clock on this Tuesday, the night before Christmas. That means it's time for the Live Zone Primetime. I'm producer Chris, and my main man, Tony P, has abandoned me once again because he decided to head home to Boston, Massachusetts area for the holiday, and he joins us now live, and it's looking like Tony P's going to get to have a white Christmas, unlike the rest of us.
It is a white Festivus. If you're a Seinfeld fan, today is Festivus, the made-up holiday from the world-renowned and nationally televised show Seinfeld for all those years. I have to tell you, Chris, you may want to be throwing a beautiful snowball at me right now for abandoning you here in Boston, because this is the perfect snow. Look at this. You can toss this thing. It's like a real baseball how tough that is. So we are here in Haverhill, Massachusetts, where I'm from originally, 30 miles outside of Boston. Now, the snow started coming down here literally between 4 and 5 o'clock today. I was on the roads, and within about an hour, okay, things were getting slick. People were sliding off the roads, including yours truly almost. You could hear the brakes starting to lock a little bit. So for someone who hasn't driven in a little while, a lot of fear there. But look at this snow, my friend. Look at with the lights, it accents it perfectly.
Looks gorgeous.
It's kind of it's basically a fluffy type snow, right? Where it really just kind of sits perfectly. Here's the bird bath behind me. Look at that snow sitting up perfectly. And I went to a light show tonight right near my house, and it just glistened off the lights perfectly. So this is the weather we have tonight. And the snow's going to fall till about, I would say, 11:30. Then it will stop. So the question's going to be, the temperature tomorrow will be about 38, 39. So will the snow melt? Who knows? Will this snow stick around for another 48 hours to get us to the new holiday, to get us to Christmas? Yeah. Will it be a white Christmas? Who the heck knows, my friend? But I'll tell you,
I bet I know someone. I bet I know someone who does know the answer to that. But before
you just might.
Before we bring him in, though, we're going to talk a little bit about that holiday getaway that you were a part of earlier today, because the rush continued today. Millions of Americans making their way to their holiday destinations. AAA predicting it'll be a record-setting year with more than 120 million Americans on the move at airports across the country. TSA keeping busy, screening a projected 44 million travelers through January 4th. Most Americans, however, will be driving. More than 109 million people taking those holiday road trips. Just make sure you don't lock up the brakes like Tony P. The good news, though, for them, the national gas average now sits below $3 a gallon. But regardless of whether you're traveling by plane or car, obviously we're keeping an eye on that forecast, like you said, because Tony P, one of the fortunate ones, getting to enjoy a little bit of the snow back here at home. What was a little earlier today, Tony P? What did we have actually? A little rain, a little sleet, a little, I don't even know what. So without further ado, let's get to the guy who knows all. Meteorologist Mike Thomas with his adorable ugly sweater.
'Tis the season for ugly sweaters, my friend. Like Tony P's not looking ugly there. He's got on
the nice trench. He's got on his hat. He's ready to go.
He's got his snow.
The best snowball ever. Look at that perfect circumference, my friend.
I mean, channeling Festivus, he's kind of got the Cosmo Kramer going.
The airing of the grievances, but Remember, Tony P, before you start talking any crap about your co-host, I can shut your mic off with one push of a button. All right?
We're gonna air the. Now, when's the feats of strength? Is it going to include a snowball fight in the office when I'm
Mike already went to the gym.
Let's do it. That's right. There's the feats of strength.
There you go, Tony P. There you go.
I love it. I love it.
All right, so Tony P, obviously one of the fortunate ones getting the snow. We had a little bit of, maybe frozen, wintry mix overnight.
Right. And it was gone by sunrise. And unfortunately for us here in D.C., we're not going to get the white Christmas. I mean, Tony may get lucky. It'll get above freezing. They're going to bet. What always makes me laugh is, like, you look at Tony P's shot there, and he's got snow on the ground, and, like, as he mentioned, roads are slick. They don't even have advisories there. Like, this is Bostonians. They know how to handle this weather. Like, that's so little snow for them. D.C., that would shut the city down for a couple of days.
100% accurate.
But all right, yeah, let's talk. So we'll talk a little weather for you here and get into what's going on. I'm showing you the big picture just in case you happen to be traveling. Most of the country, unbelievably, is pretty quiet here, right? You got this giant high pressure zone sitting over the center of the country, and that is for the most part steering all the weather to the north. And you see that's the case here in the Northeast, where the worst of the weather is up near where Tony P is, up there in Boston. Let's start west. If you're traveling west, Northern California, kind of Washington State, Oregon there, they could have a little bit of travel problems as one of these big atmospheric rivers, you probably heard the word in the news recently, is slamming into California and bringing a lot of rain to coastal regions and parts of the Sierra Nevada there, even down towards LA. They could have some rain that could cause some delays out there, like snow here in DC. The Californian folks don't handle rain too well out there because they're just not used to it like we are here in the DC region. Parts of the southern, southwestern U.S. towards Phoenix getting a little bit of rain as well. Other than that, the rest of the country pretty quiet until you get to the extreme northeast. And Tony P's right. You can see the back edge kind of moving in towards Boston pretty quickly. And he's also right about the type of snow. I mean, you see the rain snow line is just off the coast of Boston there, Tony P. So that's why you're getting that nice, white, compactful, wet snow in the Yeah, look at that, making that snowball there across the.
Perfect.
Huh? Oh, yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, show us one of those pictures again.
It's so compact. Now, let me ask you this, Mike. So, like, what are some of the factors that create this type of pack so that it doesn't stick to your feet versus that fluffy stuff that can really get on you? Like, is it about the temperature, or is it kind of that rain snow mix line?
Nope. Well, I mean, they're both related, right? Rain snow mix line is where the temperatures are right around freezing. You want to be there's a saying in weather that you always want to be where you can almost smell the rain. That's how close you want to be to that rain snow line, and that's kind of where you are. Like, I drew it there on the the map,
that's right.
And it's not far to your east, Tony P. So you're just where they're getting that very wet, compactful snow. Farther to the north, where temperatures are colder, the snow doesn't have any room to melt at all. So you get that finer, kind of dusty snow. That's just it looks pretty. It's just not any fun. You can't compact it, make a snowman like I'm sure you'll do by the end of the show. No doubt about that.
No, challenge.
It's the world's smallest
snowman. How long can I stay out here? The question.
All right, locally, satellite and radar, quiet. And look, Christmas around here is pretty quiet. Christmas Eve, high pressure's in control. That means dry conditions. Santa comes to town tomorrow night. He shouldn't have any problems. And even where you are, Tony P, you'll be cold, but no real weather worries tomorrow up your way. Christmas Eve, just fine. And we think we could even see middle 50s here. One of the warmest days of the month, Christmas Eve, because sunshine should really help us out. Now, Christmas Day, a little bit of a system comes through. It's a pretty fast mover. Up your way, Tony P, perhaps a little bit of mixture looks possible late in the day, but it doesn't look as nice as it does right now. I do think what you have on the ground sticks around, so I think you're going to get a white Christmas up that way in that regard, though. But here, Christmas Day, 40s and 50s, some showers possible, particularly during the morning hours. By the afternoon, and I'll show you Futurecast in a minute, we really do think things clear out. So happy holidays from us here at the Weather Department. 54, not a bad Christmas Eve. Christmas Day, 53 degrees, 2 of the warmer days of the month so far. Now, the Christmas Grinch comes to town a day late, the day after Christmas. Is something we really have to watch here. So if you're traveling back early, and Tony P, watch out in Boston, because you could get more snow on the other side of this thing once you get to the day beyond Christmas there. So here's your buzzword of the day, cold air damming. It's where cold air gets trapped here at the surface. It's very shallow. Cold air is heavy, so it sinks down and hugs the ground. At the same time, you see where I have those warm arrows? Warm air is coming in above our heads. So it's not a perfect atmosphere. It's warmer above than it is below, and that leads to a lot of mix. We could get sleet. We could get freezing rain, and freezing rain means ice. Everybody asks what the difference is. Sleet falls as ice pellets. It's snowflakes that melt. They turn the raindrops, and then they refreeze before they hit the ground. That gets you ice pellets. That gets you sleet. Freezing rain falls like rain. It looks like rain. It tastes like rain. don't drink it. Let it taste like rain. But when it makes contact with a surface that's below freezing or at freezing, it quickly turns to ice. So that's a concern here. If you're traveling second half of the day on Friday, it's Friday afternoon and Friday evening, you do have to watch out for some of that in the D.C. region. And yet, Tony P., I got you blanketed in the snow contour up there near Boston. Watch it on the model with me. I'll take you through Christmas first. Christmas morning, you see that green right there. Scattered showers. It's not overly wet. It's not a washout Christmas Day. Scattered showers during the morning hours here. It should get out of here by the afternoon. Might even see a little partial sunshine, but pretty cloudy Christmas overall, D.C. And then where Tony P. is up in Boston there as well. We get into the day on Friday, though. This is where things start to get tricky. Looks dry to start. Cold air, as mentioned before, stuck at the surface. And you see all that pink is the model picking up on sleet and freezing rain, particularly D.C. North. I would say I-66 and North as things stand here on Tuesday. Could change in the days ahead, but as of Tuesday, I-66 and North has the best shot at some of this mixture. And you do see, not Friday afternoon, but later in the day Friday, kind of Friday into Saturday morning, oh no, more snow for Tony P. And how much could Tony P get? Well, at the end of the day, maybe a couple more inches up there in Boston. Model's going about 2.7 for you right now, Tony P. There could be a sweet spot if you're traveling northern Pennsylvania, southern New York, where they get 4 to 8 inches of snow. You do see D.C. with the goose egg, but notice that blue line kind of down to the south a bit. There could be some areas around Washington where it starts briefly as snow before it goes over the sleet, freezing rain, all that stuff. Temperatures will be warming throughout the event, so we never get below freezing after the event starts here. So anything that falls should get out of here quick. We're pretty dry through the weekend, temps back in the 50s by Sunday. And then watch out as we get towards New Year's, not for more snow, at least not at this time, but it's going to get really cold again heading up to the New Year's holiday.
Oh, no.
Well,
Cold.
the beauty is, even if we're not here, if we have some time off, Fox Local, the Fox Weather app, Weather on the Go, you can track all those conditions all year round, 24/7. Mike Thomas will have your back. He'll also have an update coming up on Fox 5 News at 10 right here at the top of the hour.
Tony, I expect to see a snowman before the end of the hour.
Oh, yeah, and it'll be a video probably that accompanies it too, my friend. This is so cool. That's why I love weather. Okay?
Tony P., you hang tight.
Study of it.
You hang tight and stay warm. Mike Thomas has to hit the road, and we need to move on to our other big story of the night, and that is the Frederick County Council voting on plans that could allow more data centers to be built. And not only more data centers built, but built in more parts of the county. The controversial proposals have brought out hundreds of residents to speak both for and against this plan in the last few weeks. And tonight, Fox 5's David Kaplan was at that meeting, and he joins us now live. David, thank you so much for spending some time with us. Thank you for your patience. Tony P. frolicking in the snow out there. So, David, first and foremost, what happened at tonight's meeting?
To confirm this, what they call an overlay. In short, it's the plan that sort of sets the places and some of the zoning regulations for where data centers can be in Frederick County. There are already a few data centers up and running in Frederick County, and according to county estimates, those are going to generate about $55 million in tax revenue for the county here in 2025. So certainly this is sort of an extension of that. It is in some ways a clarification of some of the rules and regulations going forward, and it is also an expansion, a doubling from about 1,300 acres to 2,600 acres where data centers can be built in the county. And again, it outlays exactly where those can be. Just as we have seen this play out across the DMV with sort of the pros and cons, the people for this, against this, the emotional argument behind this, that played out tonight in Frederick County as well. You have the people who think that we need to be forward-looking in the county, be able to generate revenue, be able to go into the future with where things are trending that require data centers. We're talking about AI and all of that. There's the people who think that you need to move forward with that, and there are people who are concerned, especially in some more rural counties, about the impact of things like the environment, the water, quality, energy bills, and the impact of the price on people's utility bills. Those were also brought up and mentioned today during the public comment. But ultimately, in this 7-person council, by a vote of 5-2, they did allow this new map that essentially lays out where additional data centers, should they come, be built in Frederick County. Chris?
So, David, obviously this is one of those things that we have been following not only for weeks in Frederick County, but also all across the region. So when could we see what comes next, basically, and when could we see any form of these centers moving in?
Yeah, so essentially there are already a handful of them in operation, as we talked about, in Frederick County, and there are preliminary discussions to bring in more. And certainly they wouldn't have done this at a county level if there was no necessary, if there was an interest in bringing additional centers in. The proximity to Loudoun County, which is just across the Potomac River, certainly a big factor in that as well. And, this Loudoun, it's known as Data Center Alley, and that's we're seeing that expansion of it. And we, especially after tonight's vote, can expect to see that more and more in the coming years.
Was there any discussion throughout the entire meeting about the power sharing on the grid? For example, would there be on the public grid the power coming in for these new potential data centers, or were there requirements being discussed about having a private grid, for example, or a generator backup system, or things of that nature to take pressure off the public grids?
Well, I can tell you, Tony, that the impact on prices, the questions about how this is going to impact people, it's certainly something that some people point to, that studies show that prices have gone up. And there was a mention by a member of council who voted for this that, there are sort of different grids within the grid, is the best way I would explain it, that are specific energy sources to the data centers, that essentially they do pay a different rate than people do on the residential level. But to your point, Tony, and to your question, there are certainly broader impacts that people see and feel and experience of rising energy costs. And that's not just a data center conversation. As we know, that's been a big part of the national conversation, as well as a lot of people in a lot of places are seeing their energy prices go up.
David, real quick, I know that at some of the previous meetings in Frederick County, they were capacity at that, like literally the fire marshal wouldn't let anyone in. Were we seeing similar tonight, or was this not as well attended?
Interestingly, no, and I would say not as well attended, but certainly a passionate crowd that was there today. Some said, and this gets into a whole other can of worms, that there was some frustration about process here. The fact that there were some public hearings on the plan. Then there were amendments to the plan introduced on Friday. Those amendments were voted on, included in the package that was eventually voted on. The small amendments within the bigger vote happened, and then the big vote happened with those amendments, and there was no public discussion necessarily about the amendments themselves. So long and short, the timing with the holiday, I think, probably had some people not coming out. This sort of late addition, people didn't necessarily know to plan to come to this, to potentially have their voice heard about some of these amendments that were brought up today. I think that was definitely a factor, but absolutely passionate. And there was passion on both sides at this meeting. I want to be very clear. There were people who were happy that council did take this vote, but there were not as many people as previous meetings, but definitely passionate group that did show up today. I would estimate, just so you know, the room of about 150 seats was maybe 75 to 80% filled. So for 2 days before Christmas, I think that speaks volumes in and of itself.
Yeah, no question. All right, David Kaplan, live in Frederick County. You'll be live on Fox 5 News at 10, I believe, as well, and you talked to some of the people who testified at that meeting during the public comment.
We will be, and that was. I want to make sure people, tune in for that. You're gonna, our hope with this story is to sort of capture some of the passion, but also some of the nuance and some of the perspective that went into this vote today, especially from a council person who voted for this, against it, someone who was for it, someone who was against it. So we'll have you covered on Fox 5 starting at 10 o'clock.
All right, looking forward to it. David Kaplan, live in Frederick County. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Live Zone Primetime.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Tony P. out in the snow. We'll let you go get warm. How about that?
Look at these flakes, Chris. Look at how big they are.
It looks absolutely gorgeous, Tony P. I'm a little bit jealous, if I'm being honest with you. What we're going to do, though, is let you go inside. We're going to let you get warm. We're going to check what else you've been keeping your eye on throughout the day with what Tony's watching. In the meantime, we're going to take you live to Fredericksburg, Virginia. A live picture from our Fox 5 Skycam there. The Christmas tree all lit up. It is the night before Christmas. Festivus, as Tony P said. We'll check in with him and what he's watching coming up on the other side of the break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the Live Zone Primetime on this Tuesday night. I'm producer Chris. Tony P live in Boston, Massachusetts area. Tony P, you've made your way inside to warm up, but also share what you've been keeping your eye on tonight.
I'll tell you, well, we have some things heating up for you, and I got a heck of a rundown before the festival. We'll call it the Festivus rundown. We're gonna air the headlines. Here we go. We're gonna air the headlines for you, producer Chris. Okay, so starting off here in DC, well, there in DC, the Supreme Court today handed President Trump a major defeat, blocking his deployment of National Guard troops to Chicago in a 6-3 decision. The court rejected the administration's emergency request to overturn a lower court ruling that has blocked the deployment since October 9th. President Trump had federalized the Illinois National Guard troops against Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker's wishes, claiming they were needed to protect federal immigration agents from protests. But U.S. District Judge April Perry found no evidence of a danger of rebellion in Illinois, and the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals agreed, saying the facts do not justify the president's actions. In its unsigned order, the Supreme Court wrote that at this preliminary stage, the government has failed to identify a source of authority that would allow the military to execute the laws in Illinois. Justices Samuel Alito, Clarence Thomas, and Neil Gorsuch dissented. Here in D.C. as well, the Education Department announced they will begin garnishing wages of student loan borrowers who defaulted during the pandemic payment pause. Nearly 7 million borrowers who hadn't made payments since March of 2020 face wage garnishment of up to 15% of disposable income. The move reverses protections that shielded defaulted borrowers for nearly 5 years. Education Secretary Linda McMahon said the department gave borrowers ample time and warnings, unquote, to resume payments. Consumer advocates warn that sudden garnishments could push millions of families into financial crisis, not just during the holidays, but beyond into Q1 2026. And now some new Jeffrey Epstein files released today include 2006 grand jury testimony where President Trump described his relationship with Epstein as very limited and said that he knew him like everybody in Palm Beach knew him, unquote. The testimony contradicts photos in flight logs showing that the two previously traveled together frequently in the 1990s and early 2000s. President Trump testified in the files that he attended maybe 2 parties at Epstein's home. The witnesses placed him at dozens. The files also include testimony from Epstein's pilots and household staff, describing President Trump as a regular visitor. The White House dismissed the revelations as old news and political attacks. In the world of news, CBS News President Bari Weiss is planning a major overhaul of 60 Minutes, according to sources who spoke with the Daily Beast. Weiss, who joined CBS in September after President Trump personally recommended her, had been meeting with MAGA-aligned producers and correspondents about reshaping the iconic news program. She recently spiked a segment featuring interviews with Venezuelans deported to El Salvador's prison, saying it was too critical of the administration as well. Weiss has told staff that she wants 60 Minutes to be less adversarial and more balanced in its reporting overall. Longtime producers say the changes would fundamentally alter the program's investigative mission. Former Nebraska Senator and University of Florida President Ben Sasse today announced that he's been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. The 53-year-old says he'll try to undergo some therapy starting in January, but did mention that he potentially will die. And again, the quote on his Twitter was very direct that he will die. And he did say, though, I am a fighter, and with my family's support, he is going to try his hardest in this battle, even though he did mention in his tweet that stage 4 pancreatic cancer like this, he could potentially die. So we send our prayers, of course, to Senator Sasse, former President Sasse, and his family. Of course, we're talking about weather tonight, so I'll keep going with that as well. A winter heat wave is shattering records across the South, while the northern tier faces a white Christmas potentially, as we have seen. Cities from Texas to Florida are seeing temperatures of nearly 20 to 30 degrees above normal, with Houston hitting 84 degrees today and Miami reaching 87. So call it, I would say, a warm Christmas. Meanwhile, the northern plains and Great Lakes will see significant snow, while parts of Minnesota could expect much more snow up to Christmas Eve. In the business world today, the U.S. economy expanded at a 4.3% annual rate in the third quarter, the Commerce Department reported today, the fastest pace in nearly 2 years. Consumer spending rose 3.5%, driven by services and durable goods, while exports surged a whopping 8.8%. However, economists warn that growth is heavily concentrated among wealthy Americans, while middle-class consumers have pulled back. The K-shaped economy shows higher-income households driving growth through continued spending, while lower and middle-income consumers face mounting pressures. Unemployment did hit 4.6% in November, though, the highest since 2021. President Trump touted the numbers as proof his economic policies are working, though economists expect growth to slow potentially in the fourth quarter following the 43-day government shutdown. And speaking of the affordability crisis, the average monthly car payment in America now exceeds almost $750, prompting lenders to offer 100-month auto leases to make vehicles more affordable. The Wall Street Journal reports that loans stretching over 8 years are becoming increasingly common as new car prices have soared 30% since 2020. In the entertainment world, we're talking about Taylor Swift once again. That documentary has been all over Disney+, and Taylor Swift shared a love letter from Travis Kelce in the finale of her End of an Era docuseries. The handwritten note, which Kelce wrote before they started dating, reads, quote, "I've been a fan of yours for years, but after seeing you perform in Kansas City, I knew I had to take my shot." And also mentioned a really cute quote that he was swept off his feet with the greatness of Taylor Swift. And she, of course, teared up reading the whole note on camera, saying it was the sweetest thing anyone's ever done for me. Very, very heartwarming, especially at the holiday season. Holiday movies are dominating the box office right now, with Marty Supreme, starring Timothy Chalamet, leading with $42 million in its opening weekend. The ping pong drama from Josh Safdie earned strong reviews and is already generating Oscar buzz potentially. Also performing well in Rotten Tomatoes and some of the initial screenings is Song Sung Blue. You and I are going to love this one, Chris. A Neil Diamond biopic starring Hugh Jackman, which has earned nearly $31 million already in its limited release. It is slated to be released to the general public as a whole on Christmas Day. Both films are expected to benefit from the holiday week as families flock to theaters, of course. And that album that he just put up there, great picture on that one, a fantastic album too. And finally, in the world of social media, TikTok's latest obsession is perfectly cut chives. The hashtag Chive Lord has over 200 million views, with users posting videos of themselves meticulously cutting chives into uniform pieces and then submitting them to Rate My Chives for judgment. The account rates submissions on a scale of 1 to 10 based on consistency, technique, and presentation. I feel like we're watching Hell's Kitchen. One viral post showing flawlessly diced chives earned a perfect 10 and has been viewed nearly 15 million times. I mean, chives are pretty easy to cut, I think, Chris. I don't know about you, but I'm not exactly thinking that's much of a skill.
I mean, you could never predict. You could go broke even trying to guess what will be the next viral thing. I mean, it's fascinating.
I mean, it's like the stock market, Chris. No one really knows. Financial advisors or stock traders, they don't really know what the market's going to do. They have a vicinity of an idea, right, or a trend. That's basically what we do in social media, is that we kind of have an idea of what could work and what are some of the fundamentals, but overall, we don't know. There's things that, again, 6, 7, where did that come from? I mean, just things that you just don't know, and then they make it, they become cultural phenomena. We're sitting here talking about it.
What we do know is some things, like Mr. Neil Diamond, never go out of style.
Yeah. Timeless wonder. I posted the other night that he transcends all time.
That's right.
I'll tell you, we had a great interview with the Good Day DC team. Interviewed the stars of that movie, Kate Hudson and Hugh Jackman, and it was just a wonderful interview talking about like the musical side of it and what it takes to get into those characters and just the journey of the Sardinias, who are the couple that were the impersonators that made it really big in their 50s. That was the whole big theme of it. It covers that whole process, the rise to fame, the stress with that, the struggles. And I just cannot wait to watch this because it's encapsulated around the Neil Diamond theme and the music.
You're going to go see it while you're home?
Of course I am. That's the plan.
All right.
My goal is to see it on the 26th. Now, also, I do again want to give a big, just wishing of well wishes and prayers to Senator Ben Sasse, the former Florida president. Just very, his tweet today talking about his stage 4 cancer and basically saying, look, I'm going to die here and I'm going to try to fight, but there ain't many paths to fight. He's going to try his hardest, but he really went into a beautiful, just deep, vulnerable take about his family and being a dad, and for his 14-year-old son, taking him driving and teaching him the ropes and thinking about time in a different construct now. And Senator Sasse is known in D.C. as one of the nicest senators at the time when he retired in 2023 and then went on to academia. So we pray for the Sasse family and the former senator at this time, because he got bipartisan just love and blessings today all over Twitter and social media, which is not always known for being a welcoming place bipartisanly. But it was definitely a wonderful tribute today to the Senator Sass.
All right, Tony P. We're going to take a quick break. As we do, we're going to leave you with a live picture from National Harbor, our Fox 5 Skycam out there, showing a little love on the Capitol wheel with a heart projected right there in the middle of it. Coming up on the other side of the break, though, we are going to talk about one woman's journey from Montgomery County to Hollywood. We are talking about Hollywood producer and Montgomery County native Zainab Azizi, the woman behind the new Rachel McAdams movie, Send Help. She's going to join us live in studio coming up next. We'll be right back.
I'm going to be frank with you. You are smart. I know that you are great with numbers, but I just don't think you got it. As an executive, I see no value in you. Does that make sense?
I'm sorry, what?
You know we have the Bangkok merger coming up. Prove me wrong. Oh, Linda, before you go, I forgot to mention I've received a few complaints about you.
Complaints?
Noxious odors.
Oh, God.
Take your seats, you're a little bitch.
Look who's trying to land of the living.
How long?
You been out? Day and a half?
Have you tried making a distress signal? Or a bigger fire?
I was busy trying to keep us alive.
But getting us out of here, that should be your focus, not being Susie Homemaker over here.
What did you just say to me?
Let's not forget, I'm your boss. You work for me.
We're not in the office anymore, Bradley.
Doesn't seem like a great boss. Not gonna lie to you, that's part of the trailer for the new survival thriller Send Help. It stars Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien. Tells the story of two colleagues stranded on a deserted island after a plane crash and the battle of wits and wills to make it out alive. The movie was directed by Hollywood legend Sam Raimi. It was produced by Montgomery County's own Zainab Azizi, and tonight she joins us right here on the Live Zone Primetime to talk about the movie, her Montgomery County roots, and more. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We don't get many people joining us live in studio, admittedly. We do a lot of Zooms here, so I very much appreciate you taking the time to come in here and join us. So before we get into the movie, you attended Northwest High School for all the people out there watching from Montgomery County. You went to the University of Maryland, and now you're a Hollywood heavy hitter. And I want to get this right. One of Variety's 10 producers to watch.
Yes.
So can you talk to us a little bit about your journey in between Montgomery County to Hollywood?
Yes, so after college, I moved here. I did not have a job. I just knew I had to be in Los Angeles, and I started in the mailroom at WME.
Okay. And then you met someone who a lot of people, a lot of movie fans may know, Sam Raimi.
Yes, I packaged a film for him, and I attached him as the producer, and we were looking for writers, and he was like, you know what? You'd be a really great producer, and the rest is history.
And the rest is history. So for people who don't know what a Hollywood producer does, can you kind of give us like, basically the highlights?
Yes.
Of what's involved.
We are there from the start. So from the story to selling it to a studio to attaching the talent, actors, directors, to being on set in production, to post-production, which could take about a year and a half, to marketing of the film, which is what I'm doing right now.
What you're doing right now.
So it's a long journey, but we're there from start to finish.
Okay, and that journey that you talked about, that journey not only from Montgomery County to Hollywood, that journey has also taken you all over the world, because I was on your Instagram and I saw pictures from Thailand. I saw pictures from Sydney, Australia.
Yes.
So what is that kind of like?
It's really exciting. It's a privilege to be traveling, and we shot half the film in Australia and half the film in Thailand.
Okay, so not the worst places in the world.
Not the worst places, but it's still work.
It's still work. So speaking of work, working with Sam Raimi, you told us a little bit about how it got started, but can you talk to us a little bit about what that experience has been like?
Yes, I mean, he is one of the best filmmakers in Hollywood and all around the kindest, down-to-earth person. So I've learned so much from him. He's a great mentor, and a lot of people will be very surprised and excited to watch this film.
Surprised, and it's a little intense, like we said. We watched some of that trailer. Probably not the best office environment, and I think a lot of people may relate to some of that aggression and some of that passive aggressiveness. So this is one of the biggest productions you've worked on so far. So can you talk to us a little bit about the movie, how it came about, your role bringing it to the big screen?
Okay. Well, I met with the writers, Mark Swift and Damian Shannon, and they're really talented, and they pitched this great idea, and we developed it into a full-length feature. We brought it to Sam, And then we took it around the studios, and it was a very competitive sale, and that was kind of the beginning of how we got the film made.
Okay, and one of the descriptions that I read was this is kind of Castaway meets Misery. Does that sound accurate?
I will have to say it's an original, and I don't like to compare to other films. This one's definitely a unique one.
Okay, so the idea of a survivor story, though, one of the videos that went viral, speaking of the marketing of this movie, was Rachel McAdams in character filming her own survivor audition. Can you talk to me a little bit about that, kind of like the behind-the-scenes viral marketing efforts of this? And not only that, but is there a Survivor fan involved in this movie, and that's where a little bit of this original idea may have come from?
Well, Linda Little, which is played by Rachel McAdams, she loves Survivor, and she at one point did audition for Survivor, so that tape that you saw was her audition for her character.
Okay, all right, so that's the audition for it. Would you ever consider being on a show like Survivor?
You know, I've always said no, but Sam said that he would love to watch me on the show.
Okay, all right, so interesting, very interesting. All right, so let me ask you a question, if you can touch on this a little bit, because we are obviously streaming right now. Streaming is huge right now. Obviously, we talk about things like Netflix, and we talk about things like Disney Plus, and we talk about things like Apple TV Plus. This is going to be in theaters. How is a decision like that made? Whether something is going to premiere in theaters or whether it's going to premiere streaming. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
It takes many, many decisions, many decision power makers who decide that. But this is a film definitely to watch in theaters. It's wild. It's crazy. You definitely want to experience it with community. We'll be releasing the film in 3D, 4DX, and ScreenX.
Okay, and you are obviously home now as part of the marketing, but also this is your hometown. Can you talk to me a little bit about what you plan on doing, anything that you plan on doing while you're home for the holidays? Any must-visit places while you're back in Montgomery County?
That's a great question. I'm actually here. I'm going to spend the holidays with my boyfriend, who's also from here. And we just checked out the Pike and Rose. I love, I just love all the lights, just spending great family quality time.
Very nice. So obviously this is one of the bigger projects. You've had this long now history with Sam Raimi. Any other projects in the pipeline, any dream projects, any dream collaborators?
Yes. I would say I would love to work with Tom Cruise one day.
Oh yeah,
Hi, Tom.
Yeah, exactly. From right now, you can make that pitch to him right now. And obviously someone who has he is one of the biggest advocates for that in the theater experience, seeing a movie on the biggest screen possible. And obviously this is one that you would want to see. If people want more information, not only about you, but this movie, when it comes out, where can they follow along for that?
I will say the tickets go on sale January 6th, and they'll be on sale on AMC, Regal, you name it.
All right, well, we're looking forward to it. Zainab, Azizi, from right here in Montgomery County, all the way to Hollywood. Thank you so much for spending some time with us here on the Live Zone Prime Time. All right, we're going to take another quick break. We're going to leave you with a live picture from that Christmas tree out in Fredericksburg, Virginia. When we come back, we're going to check in with Tony P. We're going to talk a little more Hollywood. We're also going to talk about what Tony's been waiting all night to talk about, that Festivus miracle. We'll be right back.
Anymore. You are stuck with an awful boss. Just like I was. Although I'm betting I'm a much nicer boss than you ever would have been. Except for maybe this part. I don't think we should ever leave. I want to be the next survivor! I can do bushcraft with my eyes closed. I've been underestimated my whole life.
Earth Linda.
Oh.
Still working on the company report?
I finished that last week. I'm right behind you.
Oh. No, they shrunk it down to a smaller group. But don't worry, don't know who did the heavy lifting. As an executive, I see no value in you.
I want to be the next survivor! I've been underestimated. office anymore.
All right, welcome back to the Live Zone Primetime on this Tuesday night, the night before Christmas. Now, Tony, I know we talked about it being Festivus earlier, but Festivus for the rest of us, the airing of the grievances, the feats of strength.
Right.
The what was it? The aluminum pole, right? Frankie Stanz's aluminum
no
pole.
Decoration.
No decorations.
Pole.
Exactly.
Because Frank found tinsel distracting.
He found tinsel distracting. That is right. Listen, you know, in my family, traditionally, the night before Christmas was something we called vodka night. And this was created by my cousin Dan, who went to like a white elephant party one year. He got a gift of a bottle of vodka, and he and a friend, or he and his cousin, decided to drink it on the spot. So they needed to invent concoctions, invent cocktails on the spot in order to be able to drink this. And that kind of tradition, then the next year he said, let's do it again, but let's plan it that way. So then the next year he hosted a party, and then that was like 25 years ago. And so then, you know, amongst all of our cousins, we just kind of adopted it. And then I have really made an effort to try to keep this tradition alive. And so it's the one party I host a year right around the holidays. I don't do it on the night before Christmas, because traditionally that's like a Tuesday. And, you know, not everybody necessarily has the night off. So we do it on a weekend in December, and I make all kinds of crazy drinks, and we come up with a new theme each year.
Wow.
This year we didn't do it, obviously, because, you know, my wife is 9 months pregnant, and, you know, it's a lot to host a party when you're doing that. And it's even more to host a party that's really centered around the idea of drinking vodka when you cannot drink vodka. So I decided to lean into the baby theme, and I did my own little mini vodka on Saturday night, where I just drank out of a baby bottle with vodka cocktails in it. So that was this year's vodka night. But It'll come back strong next year. Don't you worry, Tony P.
I mean, and I'll tell you, like, that's going to be a celebration again when you have the year away. It's like you have all that pent up desire to really make it rock out loud the next time. So
that is going to be the case.
But I need to come to this.
You are absolutely going to come to this. You are 100% going to be there. Don't worry. We make mocktails as well, so you don't have to even worry about that. Tony P, are you
down a few mocktails? I like that.
Yeah, trust me.
And not pay $50 a piece.
I know. Trust me. There's nothing I love more than actually like bartending at home. So
yes,
I got you covered there. Tony P, we were just talking about movies. This new movie, Send Help, hitting theaters January 30th. Another huge movie next year that we still have to wait a full year for is the latest. It's one of the latest chapters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Are you a fan of these comic book movies, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and are you caught up? Have you seen all of them?
I think it's like physically or humanly impossible to stay caught up to all of them with the amount that they put out. I would just say I love, like, Guardians of the Galaxy was a great example of one of these where it took that story and really, brought it alive. I kind of compare it to what the Grinch in 2000 did to the 60s era cartoon, right? So I think, like, in those cases, yes. But when you have Iron Man 5 or, Captain America ×7, I mean, you get to a point where the story becomes like beating a dead horse.
Yeah.
So I think I would like to see more of the maybe not as recognized characters. You want to do more spinoffs, go for it.
Okay.
I just think having 7 or 8 of the same character and they just kind of tweak the margins of the storyline and it ends up being the same moral of the story, I don't think people want to see that.
Well, the first teaser for the new Avengers movie hit the big screen this past weekend, playing ahead of the new Avatar movie, but it finally officially, and when I say officially, got posted online today. That's because it had leaked last week. And I'll be honest with you, not everyone was very thrilled because, as you can see in this little teaser, it's really highlighting one specific character. And you just mentioned him. We are talking about Captain America, but not the Captain America that we just saw on the big screen back in February with Anthony Mackie.
Yes.
We're talking about Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers is back. Steve Rogers, played by Chris Evans. You see him right there. For those that don't know, that's this version of Captain America's real name. The previous Captain America, Chris Evans, had played coy about whether he would be back for the new movie since the last Avengers movie back in 2019. You may remember he handed the shield off to Anthony Mackie's Sam Wilson, who starred in a new Captain American movie, like we just said. However, as they just confirmed in this teaser, Steve Rogers will be back. Now, Marvel will apparently roll out more of these teasers focused on specific characters in the coming weeks. Avengers Doomsday, like I said, doesn't hit the big screen until next year. But one of the reasons people are upset is because they're worried that Marvel has run out of ideas. Because not only is Steve Rogers back and Thor with Chris Hemsworth back, but they also brought back Robert Downey Jr. Now, this is a spoiler for like a 6-year-old movie, but his Tony Stark he met his fate at the end of Avengers Endgame, you may remember. It was the culmination of this 10-year Marvel Cinematic Universe. And then they bring him back, and he's playing a different character. This time around, he's playing Dr. Doom, the Doom in Doomsday. And fans they're a little in their feelings about it, Tony P.
I would be too, because it really gets to the heart of this feeling that Hollywood has changed, that the movies are now all about the more data-driven metrics. It's not about authentic storytelling anymore. It's about pumping out the next kind of, I would just say it, AI-generated movie.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these films do feel like that they just were written up on a software piece. So, I mean, I feel that this kind of contributes to that because there's this new, the new character. It's just a return of somebody else.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
these are
obviously,
before, those dry ideas, they're stale. And the thing is, do you either go deeper? Do you continue with Anthony Mackie's character? He did a great job as Captain America,
and he'll be back as well.
Right.
This whole chapter of this Marvel Cinematic Universe has been this multiverse idea that there can be different versions of the same character. But I think that's where they lost a lot of the casual fans like you and me. I know I'm a pretty big comic book geek, but I think once they started diving too deep into the comic book aspect of this comic book universe is where they really lost some of the casual fans.
They did, and it's deserved. I hate to say that, but this is what happens when you're chasing pure money metrics instead of good, authentic storytelling.
All right. Well, in the meantime, Tony P, we did it again. Thank you so much for joining us from Boston.
Thank you, my friend.
I
Well
wish
done.
you and the rest of the Polcari family a very Merry Christmas, a very Happy New Year. We'll touch base off screen and connect and catch each other up. But for everyone out there watching and spending the night before Christmas, Festivus with us, thank you so much. We will be back tomorrow night. Have a great night. Fox 5 News at 10 is next.
Get ready.